Hello everyone, you're welcome to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how to make this crop top, and these are the materials that we need. We need hemming gum, we need button, and we need cotton hairstay, likewise lightweight crepe or any preferred material. The first thing is to come down by 1 inch from the first thing I do is to come down by 1 inch from both sides of the fabric, reason being that the edge is rough, so that line becomes my starting point. The length of the top is 20, and then I give it 2 inches seam allowance, that makes it 22. I later reduced the length of the top to 18, and then I added 2 inches seam allowance, that makes it 20. I'm just going to join together with my ruler. The next thing I'm going to do is to measure 0.75 all the way from the shoulder to the length of the seam allowance of the top. You can see, yeah. So the next thing I will do is to mark the shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 15, half of 15 is 7.5 plus half-inch seam allowance, that gives me 8. From that 8 I'm going to come down by 1 inch, and from that 1 inch I want to get my armhole, so I will divide my bust by 1.6, and then I will add 1.5 seam allowance. So then I marked, when I divided my bust by 6 and added 1.5, give me 7.5. I'm just trying to confirm if what I have at the shoulder is what I have underneath too. So for neckline I'm going to take 2.5 by 3, and overall I'm going to mark 10. So the neckline, the front piece has a round neckline and a V neckline. So for the round I take 2.5 by 3. So overall the length of my front neckline is 10. I'm just going to give it a slight curve. The next thing I'm going to do, I will mark half-inch upward, and then from that part where I came down by 1 inch, I will mark half-inch upward as well. So I'm going to slant it. This is seam allowance. I'm going to join the shoulder of both the front and back piece together. If I don't give it seam allowance, I'm going to have to hold it from the neck, and it's going to reduce the depth of the neck. Next thing I'll do is to divide my bust by 4 and add 1 inch seam allowance. There's no point adding more than 1 inch seam allowance, since I'm not going to turn it with lining. So you remember that my armhole measurement was 7.5 when I divided my bust by 6 and added 1.5 inches to it. So I just located the midpoint of 7.5. I came out by ½ inch, and I'm going to give it a curve. But in case the bust you are working with is big and you can't get a curve straight up, you are just going to place your ruler from that shoulder slope to the midpoint first, give it a curve, and then from the midpoint all the way. That's when situation where the bust is big. So for my bust, my waist is 28, but I made it 32. So divided by 4 plus 1, and then I marked it. I gave ease because I want it to be free at that point, and then I don't want to put zip, so that it can be easy for me to wear. So I join all the way. The next thing I'm going to do, I don't want to go through the rigor of sketching another piece for the back, so I'm just going to insert the measurement of the back on it. There are just two differences or three. The neckline is going to be ½ inch deep. It's still going to be 2.5 inches wide, but it's going to be ½ inch deep, unlike the front that is 3 inches deep. And then it's not going to have that center line, that 0.5 that we marked earlier. It's not going to have it. And then, although I'm going to start the curve from the midpoint, but I'm not going to come it out by ½ inch. As you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to trim out the back piece first, since the back piece is not as deep as the front piece. So when I'm done trimming it out, I'll get a clean fabric, fold it into two, and place this on it. Before trimming out the front neckline and the front armhole. As you can see, I have placed the fabric on it and I have cut it out. So there's something I want to show you. First, let me trim out the rough edges. One thing I did is the back neckline. The back neckline did not start from the fold of the front piece. It started from where the line, where that 0.75 ends. You can fold it in, as you see me do. You can just fold the front piece like this to use it to cut the back, or just shift it out and ensure that it starts from that line. I hope you understand what I'm saying. You can see the back starts from that line. It doesn't start from the fold. That's that for the back. The next thing I'm going to do is to trim out the front. I'm going to trim out the neckline, and I'm going to trim out the armhole, and I'm going to get a piece of fabric for the facing. So altogether, the depth of the front neckline is 10 inches. So I'm going to trim as you see me do. I'm going to trim it upward. And I'm going to trim the armhole. I'm just going to give that place a straight stitch. As you can see. I'm trying to cut facing for the front. Can you see? Even the facing starts from that 0.75 line. Can you see? So I'm going to cut at the front neckline. I'm just going to trim it as you see me do. So I have decided to make my facing 3 inches wide. On fold, it's going to be 3 inches wide. So when I open it, it's going to be 6 inches. Just trying to smoothen the material. I have also decided to to stop the facing at about 3.5 inches away from the hem of the top. So I just indicated that underneath, and then I'm also going to slit the front neckline open on the facing before I remove the front neckline. Mark 3 inches. I'm going to join together with my ruler, and then at the round neckline I'm going to mark 3 inches round as well. I'm just going to mark it, connect it together, and cut it out. As you can see, just going to trim it out. I'm done cutting. I'm just going to place it on the front piece, and then I'm going to get my hemming gum. So I'm going to ensure that both the front piece and the facing are aligned together, and then I'm going to go ahead and secure them with pin. Can you see? But before I join it, remember it has a button on the chest, so I need that flap. So I'm just going to cut the material for that. So I got a fabric and I measured 3 inches width and 4 inches depth. I'm just going to join together and cut it out. So the next thing I will do is to locate the midpoint of 3 inches, which is 1.5, and then I'm going to mark ½ inch on both sides. I located 1.5, marked ½ inch on both sides, and then I'm just going to slant it from that midpoint. Can you see? So I'm going to trim that slanted area, and then I'm going to join the side from top to bottom with ½ inch. So I've gone ahead to join it. I'm going to press it towards the midpoint, and I'm going to sew ½ inch downward, slanted as well. I've turned it, giving it a good press. I'm going to place it in between the fabric, in between the front piece and the facing, and I'm also going to ensure that the right side is facing the right side. I'm going to place this and pin just to secure the fabrics. As you can see, now we need our hemming gum. I'm going to place it this way, cut out and sew. I've stitched it. Did you notice where the stitching started and ended? What I'm doing now is notching it, I'm going to have to notch this center closely to the seam line. It has to be so close, but it won't. I will also be careful not to cut it, but it has to really be close so that the material can rest at that region. The next thing I will do is to give it a very good press. A steam iron will come handy at this point, and if you don't have one, you can sprinkle water on your fabric and iron. I'm just going to fold in by half an inch all the way to the shoulder. I've done that and I've pressed it. So you can see the next thing I'll do is to place the back on the front. I'll join the shoulder downward with half an inch. I will join both sides with 1 inch. Remember, I give it 1 inch seam allowance, so I'm just going to mark 1 inch. I give the shoulder half inch. You can see what it looks like. The next thing I will do is to open it to the wrong side. Remember, I give the 2 inches seam allowance, so I'm just going to mark 2 inches on both sides and join together with my ruler. I will turn it to the back and do the same thing. So I'm going to put my hemming gum round this way, even to the front. You can fold it again like this and stitch, but I choose to iron it, so I'm just going to fold it once and iron, and then I will overlock the rough edges. So I didn't forget to trim the armhole that I said the other time. This is what it looks like after ironing the hem. It's so beautiful. I didn't have to stitch it. The next thing I will do is to measure the neck round. When I measured mine round, I got 15.5. So I will use this to go and cut the collar. So I need 2 pieces. So I'm going to fold the fabric into 4. The next thing I will do is to place my tape and measure half of 15.5 and give it half inch seam allowance. The 15.5 that we got when we measured the neck round. So the next thing I'm going to do, where that fold is, I'm going to come up by half inch, get my ruler and draw it all the way to our seam allowance. As you can see, going to join it all the way, and then I came up by 3 inches. I'm contemplating between 2.5 and 3. I eventually measured 3 inches, and then on the other end I measured 3.5, but then I went back to the other side. I reduced it to 2.5. You know, I measured 3 initially. I reduced it to 2.5, and then here I made it 3.5. So the next thing I will do is to connect, and then I'm going to measure half an inch and slant it to the seam allowance, and then I'm going to turn to the curvy part of my ruler. Not so curvy, I'm going to just give it a slight curve. So I used 2.5 there and I used 3.5 on the other side. So I'm just going to give it a slight curve. Yeah, so I'm just going to trim it out. The next thing, I placed it on my hairstay. I cut hairstay for just one of the pieces, so I placed it, gave it a good press, and then I placed it right side facing the right side of the other piece, and then I joined that curvy part. So I join it with half an inch downward. I won't cut the other end, just as that, and then I'll notch it and trim off the excesses. The next thing I'll cut is the sleeve. The length of my sleeve is 7 inches plus 1 inch seam allowance, that's 8. So I marked 8. And then my forearm, where I will also take my armhole measurement, I marked 4 inches. The same thing I did on that side, I replicated it on the other side. So I'm just going to join it, so you can see. So on this line, I'm going to mark 8 inches, and at the hem of the sleeve, my round sleeve is 11. I can use 11, I can use 11.5, but I choose to use 12, and then I gave it 1 inch seam allowance, so I just slanted it. As you see, so I slanted it. So the next thing I will do is to locate the midpoint. So I'm going to give it a curve, just a slight curve. As you can see, this is for the front, and then for the back, I'm going to mark it this way. So I'm going to need 2 sleeves. This is one that I'm cutting. I found a small material that I felt would be able to cut 1 sleeve. That's the only reason why I cut them separately. When I'm done with this, I'm going to get another material and cut the second sleeve. So in case you are cutting the 2 sleeves together, you will first cut as seen, and then you will open up and trim the front piece. So I'm just going to open up, and I'm going to trim. So just imagine that the 2 sleeves are together, and then you're going to do it like this. Don't mistakenly cut it on fold. The next thing I'm going to do, there is a fold at the hem of the sleeve. That's what I'm cutting. So the material is 7 inches long and 4 inches wide, and it is on fold. Seven inches long. Remember the hem of my sleeve too is 7 inches long. When I said the roundness of my sleeve is 12, and then I added 1 inch to it, so that's why this one too is 7 inches long. So I've gone ahead to sew and iron the collar, and then I pin round the neckline, and I cut a strip of about 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to do it like this. I want to turn the neckline, and I want to do it such that I will hide the rough edges inside. So please pay close attention. You can also use bias if you have the same color with the fabric you are using. I don't have the same color, and I don't even have white. I probably would have managed white, but I don't have white, so I decided to cut from the material, which is also not bad at all. So I'm just going to sew all the way to the end of the collar. Carefully. So the same way I started the collar, whereby I folded the bias to the back, I'm going to do it here as well. As you see me do, then I'm going to sew all the way. We're almost there. This is what it looks like, guys. Look at the back. This is what it looks like at the back. So to hide the stitch and the rough edges, I'm just going to fold like this and fold again. I hope you get that. So I'm going to sew downward. Going to sew downward. Can you see? You can see that the rough edge is hidden now. At this point, I didn't realize that the thread underneath had finished. So I'm just going to reel some more and do this again. I wasn't looking at the back. I'm just going to insert the sleeve now. For the sake of beginners who are watching this, I'm going to show you a very easy method of inserting your sleeve. The first thing is that you are going to place it, ensure that the mouth is equal. I know we didn't cut it equal, but at this point you are just going to ensure both the front and back are equal, and you're going to place it on your armhole to the end, and then when you're done, you're just going to give it about 3/4 of an inch. Can you see? Place it on the armhole like this. By 1/2 inch that you will use to join it, place it like this. Place it like this. By 1/2 inch, place it like this. Place it like this to the end. Note where it stops and give it about 3/4 of an inch, just small. And then I'll mark my round armhole. I'm going to join it. I will mark that strip that will be at the hem of the sleeve too. You remember there is something at the hem of the sleeve. That 7x4 that we cut out the other time. I'm just going to join it on one side This is it. I open it up and give it a good press. I'm just going to fold it into two. So that part that is joined, I'm going to place it at the parts of the sleeve that is also joined. And then I'm going to secure it all around with my pins. Can you see? Can you see? Both joining aligned together. Just going to secure it all around. And I'm going to join it. Just going to join it around. And when I'm done, I'm going to top stitch it. So let me show you how to top stitch. Without top stitching, you can see it won't rest well. But now that I've top stitched and ironed, look at what it looks like. So I place it like this on the sewing machine, and then I sew on the side of the material that will not show outside. Understand? Assuming you are sewing a cloth that you turn with lining, you are going to top stitch on the lining. Look at this. In putting our sleeve, we are going to ensure that the part that is deep, that is meant for the front, is truly facing the front, and the part that is at the back is truly facing the back. Hope you understand what I'm saying. So I'm going to hold the center of that sleeve and ensure that it aligns with the shoulder, which is also the center of the armhole. I'm going to pin it. There is also a part of that sleeve that is joined and a part of the armhole that has joining too at the armpit. So I'm just going to ensure they also align, and I'm going to secure it with my pin as well. I'm just going to sew around, and that is all for this top. So the next thing, you remember it has button on the chest, so just get your hand needle and a matching thread and put the button on the chest, and all together give the top a good press. This is what it looks like, guys. Can you see? Try yours and let me know how it goes. Look at this button. This is the final look. Thank you so much for watching, guys. See you in my next video.